Hello, Uganda. Good evening and welcome to this edition of the Hotseat on 933 KFM. I welcome you, our listeners across this beautiful land, the Pearl of Africa. My name is Patrick Kamara. Tonight, we look into the unfortunate incident that has happened on the road between Juba and Kampala, but still in South Sudan, because there was a bus destined for Kampala, and that bus didn't make it. And some people were killed. The bus was torched, and we understand some people have disappeared into the bushes in South Sudan. You can imagine somebody who left Juba thinking they're going to come to Kampala. Probably they're business people. Probably they are visiting or anything. And they end up with bus being attacked by unknown gunmen, and the bus is torched, and probably the survivors have scattered in the bushes of South Sudan. You can imagine what is going on in their lives, especially if they have survived. They may not come back to meet the people who want to rescue them because they do not know. You have to pray for those Ugandans or Kenyans or Tanzanians or wherever they are, because they are from a capital city of a country to another capital city of a country. Up to now, you do not know who was on that bus, and God forbid, it could be anybody close to you, to me, or to whoever, but we just have to have our thoughts with the travelers who happened to be in that incident. We'll be looking into that. So, we hope to get online the Minister for Kampala, the Honorable Christopher Kabuye Chofa Togabye, so that we can talk about many issues, including what has just happened in Kampala, because the President has relieved the duties of the Executive Director, the Deputy, and the Director for Public Health. And we also have in the studio Dr. Ezra Muhumuza. Dr. Ezra Muhumuza is Executive Director, Uganda Manufacturers Association. So we want to thank you so much for having honored our invitation. Dr. Muhumuza, good evening, sir.
Good evening, I thank you.
I can imagine you too, your heart is out there for the people who are traveling from Juba to Uganda to Kampala, and the bus was set ablaze, and some people have died. And I know, manufacturers and traders are applying that route. How has it been like? What have they been telling you about traveling between Kampala and Juba?
To begin with, it's unfortunate, and I think we stand with those who have lost their relatives, much as confirmation of who has perished and who is nowhere to be seen is yet to be established, but the incident in itself is very regrettable, and I hope we'll be able to get more information about this. But it's not news. What is maybe new is the burning of the bus, but the insecurity on that road is not news. It has been there. Our people have always give the feedback, and then the nature of the road itself, it is horrible. You could find sometimes that if the bus was driving on a normal highway speed, maybe the chances of laying it by these roadside people, whoever they were, the chances that it could have survived. But the speed there is very, very slow, almost parking, and that's
on account of what?
On the count of the road.
But I thought there's a new tarmac road that was built by South Sudan from Juba to Nimule.
But this particular road is very horrible.
You mean it has already in disrepair?
Yes.
This supposed to be road is not even 20 years.
So that's what it happens with the construction in our developing countries. But that road has not been good for business.
So, but still, amidst all the challenges, amidst all the threats to the lives of business people, Ugandans are still going in Juba in big numbers. Are they?
They are, because business works with as a principle of osmosis, where there is a high concentration of molecules. It's where the water will always be attracted. So, in this case, business in South Sudan, the business between Uganda and South Sudan, has potential, is there, and that is why they have to continue. Otherwise, one of the feeder economy into Southern Sudan economy is Ugandan economy. So if we decided to say we are not going to feed into them, then we are going to create now a second level kind of national paralysis for that country.
We can imagine the information we're getting from that incident is that some Ugandans could have escaped and scattered into the wilderness of the Sudan. And right now, I can imagine what's going on in their minds. It must be very terrible because they can't even think of coming back. You do not know whether the people you're coming to are the people after your life or the people who are coming to rescue you. I think they need our prayers, don't they?
They need our prayers, but again, they need our effort to rescue them. And I think the security apparatus must be handling this with high levels of priority. I think at one moment you will have to reach out to the security people and they brief us on what is happening.
I know also Ugandan businessmen and Ugandan traders have been demanding money from the government of South Sudan that they used to supply goods and services there. During those skirmishes when President Salva Kiir and his vice president were having a fight, Ugandans lost businesses and were not paid. What do you know about the demand for payment and where does it stand?
The demand for payment, there was solicitation of those who got into the loss. The lists were compiled, vetted, presented to the Office of Prime Minister, and up to now we are still waiting to see who gets compensated. But up to now, those we see on the street, people are still crying. Those who went down the drain, they have never come back. So we are very, very ignorant. We don't know what is happening next because it went up to the level of bilateral negotiation, government to government.
All right. I can now confirm that we have been joined by the Minister of State for Kampala, the Honorable Christopher Kabuye Chofa Togabie. Honorable Kabuye, thank you so much for joining us. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Kamala and Jose. How are you?
Also in the studio, we have Dr. Ezra Muhumuza, who is the Executive Director, Uganda Manufacturers Association. He's listening to you as well.
Yes. How are you, Dr. Ezra?
I'm very fine, Honorable. Nice to hear you.
There are two things I want to begin with you, Honorable Chofa Togabie. One is the unfortunate incident that has happened on the road between Juba and Kampala, but it's still within South Sudan, where Ugandans, we presume they're Ugandans or people, a bus destined for Kampala was intercepted, torched, some people killed, and others scattered into the wilderness. What do you make of this, Honorable Chofa Togabie?
Of course, I may be a bit constrained to make a comment because, you know, the challenge of the position, but the incident is regrettable and my condolences goes to all our people regardless of the originality because most of them really are not Ugandans, most of them are South Sudanese, but the actions are condemned and I think with due, at an appropriate time, I think the talks must be held between the two presidents to find the lasting solution because now the bilateral kind of negotiations and discussions must take place to avoid the past occurrences. Because you may recall that the NRM government is desirous and eager to promote what we call brotherhoodness.
What the nationalities are for the people who were in that bus, at least we know that that bus was destined for Kampala City, where you were Minister of State.
Yes, that's why I'm saying now that the action destroys what we call our objective of brotherhoodness and economic integration. Because from that angle, you may find that there is a symbiotic relationship between the two nations, and whoever did it, of course, must be brought to book. That is one. Whoever did it.
Honorable Kabuye, what is the business like between Kampala and Juba? I'm asking this because there has been continuous cases of insecurity on that road, but also I remember some of our businessmen are still demanding the government of South Sudan for the unpaid money for the goods supplied back in the day. What is it like now, the business situation between Kampala and Juba?
No, I think Dr. Ezra will be in a position to tell us what is it now, right now. But all I know and I will see that there is a lot of lucrative businesses are moving on, and people are still carrying out their businesses as usual, despite of all those challenges we've been getting. Now, what you should know, the president time and again has been advising all of us, first of all, to be strategically patient with some people. But now it has become a practice that our brothers from South Sudan, either they are taking advantage of our generosity and hospitality to do what they do, or there are some forces which somehow use them to do what they have done and what they will continuously do. But of course, at an appropriate time, we'll talk and we will really reach a compromising position. Because also should be taken into consideration that this is a younger nation where people are still coming from those issues, those disturbances. Maybe some of them are not yet there in terms of diplomatic relationship and also coexistence. Some are still in the what kind of label, kind of mentality, not knowing that this is now a nation which needs each other. We really need our brothers. We need friends. We need neighborhood to promote. Because there is virtually, in order to really help South Sudan grow and develop, they need us and we need them.
All right. Honorable Chofa Togabie, let me come back to the studio as you stay online. Dr. Ezra Muhumuza can respond on the business environment because I know you are Uganda Manufacturer Association. What kind of goods do we manufacture? What kind of goods are we supplying to South Sudan? Because that gives us an indication of the kind of business that is thriving between Kampala and Juba.
The first and the biggest basket is the food basket. We have a lot of cereals that are going into South Sudan. We have got electronics, they are going into Sudan. We have got plastics, these are household user things. Then we have got energy storage equipment, especially the batteries, and this is the wiring and all these things related to energy. We have woodworks, wood products that we are exporting into South Sudan. So the array of products is wide, and what currently we are concentrating on as manufacturers, we're trying to see how we can bring these things now closer to them, other than troubling to come into Kampala and look for all these, by getting these border hubs, especially on the three major entries into South Sudan, to ensure that we even on the service for the supply. But I wanted to react to the thinking. This thinking is common on the streets, that South Sudanese, because they harass Ugandans, they harass even those who are here, that we need retaliation to that effect. To me, I think it's not in order for Ugandans to think in that way, that Sudanese as a people are necessarily against Ugandans. We need to appreciate one thing, Kamara, that this is a society that is still in defining itself around ethnocentrism, around their tradition, around their culture, around their tribal sentiments. And therefore, they are always suspicious with who is associating with what. We have to accept that it is a society that is politically immature. It's a society whose institutions are not yet in existence. It's a society that systems of governance are almost to zero. It's a society where survival for the fittest takes the day. So if we want to again treat ourselves in that arena, then it means we are taking ourselves back into where maybe we were by 1920s. So in that view, I think we need to be proactive and be part of the solution other than escalating the problem.
Dr. Muhumuza and Honorable Chofa Togavie, gentlemen, we're going to take a very quick break, and when we come back, let's shed a light on matters affecting KCCA, considering that the president has taken a decision relieving the duties of the executive director, the deputy, and director for public health. What does that mean, and what does the Honorable Chofa Togavie and the group who are responsible for Kampala are going to do? Because we are facing a problem of mounting garbage on the city in Kampala, and that could be a health problem. Thank you, and welcome back to 933 KFM, and this is the Hot Seat. My name is Patrick Amara. My guest this evening, I have Dr. Ezra Muhumuza, who is the Executive Director, Uganda Manufacturers Association, and online we have Minister of State for Kampala, the Honorable Christopher Chofa Togavie. And I've just received the passenger manifest from my producer, going by the naming on that manifest or the nomenclature. I could say maybe 95% of the people on that bus were South Sudanese. We have some Ugandans, according to the naming, and also some Kenyans. And our hearts go out to those who are in distress right now. I want us to change gear, gentlemen, and look at what has just happened according to the president's decision. And that is, we could say he has fired 3 people, the ED, the deputy, and the director of public health. You are a Minister of State for Kampala. Has this come as a surprise to you?
No.
I'm
okay.
Very much your photography. What? I'm asking a direct question about your photography. Has this come as a surprise to you?
Not really.
Oh, you knew they were going to go?
Knew something was have to be done, but maybe not all. But I suspected something already because of hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, because of the way and the method we've led the city. Good enough, it is on record. I had spent 2 years complaining about this, and even I've been pointing fingers to some people, saying, please, you're responsible. Then this monster corruption, IGD has been ranking us #1. Can you imagine the latest report for entities? We overtook police and
Honorable Chofa, with all respect, when the Inspectorate of Government says the Kampala Capital City Authority is a highly corrupt entity, Honorable Minister, what is this laughed about?
No. What I'm saying, I've been. That's the reason I'm saying. Was it a surprise? No, it wasn't, because all along we've been getting these things and we've been going through them, and sometimes you try even to say, please read this report. This report means a lot to you as an entity. You know, when someone says you are #1, ranked #1 in corruption, it's a vote of no confidence. And what do you think the appointing authority has in you when you have responsibility? I remember...
so now, for the people listening to you, Honorable Chofa Togavie, if on the corruption list KCC come up on top, and here you are Minister of State for KCC, doesn't that say you too? And I'm saying this with a lot of respect. You too, your image is tainted.
No, it does. It's not, Kamara. You know, I think your way of the operations of government, eyes on, and is off. Who has the pen? The idea has never said that the political supervisors are corrupt. They are saying, please, you with our money. My role is to go and do budget, get mobilized resources, hand over the resources to entrust resources to someone.
Honorable Chofa Togavie, if you're heading an entity that is highly corrupt, that is incompetent, that is not delivering for the residents of Kampala, that things are falling apart, you, the political head, you have a political responsibility because you are leading a city that's not working.
Kamara, it is on record, very on record. The full year I've been up there, because when I came in, these are the things we discovered, and we started working on them, and speaking about them. That is okay. Two, do I have at what level do I have? Where does my limit? I've done everything in my limit. And what is the result? And is this. So please, there's nothing. By the way, there's nothing. I'm telling you, I'm not happy, first of all, but I'm like, it's okay. Let Kampala get better and better services. And it is also on record. These are the wars I've been having. And everyone hated me in the building. Nobody would love to took away to Fatou God, yes, because his insistence and his stand on the principles and also on the service delivery of our people. So it is, well, the president, I think, has really acted timely, but of course some people are victims of circumstances and you leave it. But now what we have to do is to reorganize and do better. Because for me, the bottom line is serving the people of Kampala. You know, the battles have been going through and everyone marched through. You remember?
Yes. So, Ezra Muhammad, because as a resident of Kampala, all of us, we work in Kampala, and majority also live within Kampala. What do you make of this? The ED gone, the deputy gone, director of public health. We're still having trouble of managing our West, and the president taking this executive decision. What do you make of that?
Kamara, with all due respect, the president has all his discretionary powers to appoint and sack and redeploy anyone in this country. He has all those powers. But that put aside, there is what I call problem analysis. These two people have been in office for how long?
Well,
maybe around 5 years.
Yes.
But was there a problem for Kasasiro in this Kampala before they came into office? The answer is yes. Number two, we have cities beyond KCCA. The majority of the people are in Wakiso. Are they the same people in Wakiso? They are other townships. These other cities, do they have a similar problem of waste? The answer still remains yes. This tells me that maybe we are dealing with symptoms and we could do better if we address the problem. Kampala in itself, if I used the simple analogy I normally use when I use it to be in class, there is no way you are going to have 2 bedrooms, one for the father, another one for the mother, and then their children. If you think idealistically like that, you will always die praying. The truth of the matter is in Kampala, and as long as we continue to see the parallelism between the politics of the city, the political wings in the city, until we see harmonization between the leaders, until these 2 leaders come on the table and say, we need each other.
So you mean for the minister, the elected mayor, and the technical people?
Before the technical, the 2 political forces in KCCA cannot be underrated the way we want to think. That because Rukwago is there and then there is a minister there, then that work can continue sufficiently when they are in parallel arguments.
Let's get back to the Honorable Minister there. That kind of conflict, whether true or perceived, what do you make of it? Isn't a stumbling block for service delivery in Kampala? You have the Lord Mayor, probably of a different party, the deputy, FDC, the minister of obviously NRM. All of you have different subscribing different ideologies, and sometimes you don't even agree. Isn't that costing us as a city?
Actually, but by the way, let's one thing. Let's separate some political ideologies of some people and services. They do not actually work together. You know, the two are totally different and mutually exclusive. Because I don't care what vehicle brought you where to reach here. All matters is, are people getting the right services? People amplify this, but today, ever since okay, for instance, let me give you an example. Today we spent almost half a day with the political leadership of KCC. And what was the issue? Guys, enough is enough. We have Kasasiro everywhere. What do we do? The road mayor is there submitting, I'm submitting, and the meeting has been chaired by my senior minister. And we're like, guys, what we do? Let's have the solution. And other things. So we really think the only problem that sometimes people, when you fail to perform, you somehow can. You know, the Uganda is saying, if you fail to skin a goat, or to kill a goat that it has looked at me, or it is seeing me. No. Sometimes we use these as gimmicks and excuses, which for me I don't agree with. Because the bottom line, actually, things are clear. All what you have to do as a minister, mobilize resources, supervise this, oversee this, oversee. All what the road did, the political leadership has to do at KCCA, come up with strategies, come up with programs which you think are going to develop the city, and then you come to the Minister for Finance, which we've been doing very well. Do you know that Kamala?
Yes, sir.
Do you know it is on record? Because of our relationship anyway. For the first time, KCC got almost $1 trillion Uganda shillings. This has never been happening. It has never happened before. Almost $1 trillion Uganda shillings. In terms, this is our budget in this current year. The highest they had got was 649 when Madam Mrs. was still there. But we had reached this level. What does it mean? That funds are not a problem because we can get them despite. But again, at the same time, I can't be in the same bed with the road mayor or any other person. No. The same thing is their ideology, maybe the work modality, as long as they don't interfere with service delivery. For me, that's the bottom line. Imagine another thing. What does my political ideology has to do with garbage collection? Or road construction? Yes, people will shout like they shouted. I stood on my ground. I said I need the road, no matter what. And the roads are now being constructed. We went to say yes, because also those things happen in Kampala.
Now, I want to look into the issue of waste management, because as we speak right now, Honorable Chofa Togbabi, the city of Kampala is choking on garbage. Mountains of garbage are growing bigger and bigger in the different divisions of our city. And that, if we just get into October, which is the rainy season, then we're facing a catastrophe of cholera and other waterborne diseases that will blow us.
Mr. Kamala, we are cognizant of that. And I promise Ugandans we may not reach the October, despite of the challenge. But of course, this one has happened because of the systematic problem and historical which has been there, which it is save for other issues. And also lack of modernity, which some people took long to really appreciate. Because now you people, you're talking of today of the incidents which happened on 10th August this year. For me, it was a year ago. By 23rd November last year, I was already in Spain. And I took directives, I even directed following, of course, that one also following two issues. One, there was rain, and trucks could not access. Then the president has also directed us on recycling and so on the waste management practices. I went there. I walked over and up the top of the mountain. I said, guys, I think this thing must be controlled. And maybe many people would have died. Because between that time and April, we participated close to, I think, 14 people. 24 households. And we moved with them. And shockingly, that was also the gateway for the waste line.
For the people, listen to you now, they would want to know if you have 3 crucial positions and there are no leaders for them right now. So when do we expect an interim leadership for Kampala's ED? Is that your role to do?
No, don't worry. Interim leadership, of course, we would be interested to advise. By Friday, we shall have people there. At the same time, but this student even cause an alarm. No way.
Okay.
Things are right in place. And I want to call upon Ugandans not to really panic over this. But we also need to consult a bit, because now, I wouldn't advise to have someone who is already there to come and help us through the interim. I would rather get somebody on secondment from ministries and so on. So it's going to take an approach, a kind of a government approach. Instead of confining ourselves as means of Kampala and so on, we can get out. And then we get people who are beating you to come and do, so that we don't carry the baggage of the other thing, the sentiment and the feeling, because you know that has been there. And that was one of the reasons why some people had to go.
Okay.
Because of the kind of, I don't know, I don't know how to tell you.
Okay. Honorable Minister of State for Kampala, Christopher Chofa Togavi, I want to thank you so much for the time you have given us. We are very grateful. I know you're working hard and for Kampala, and we thank you for that. And we understand there are other engagements awaiting you, so we're letting you go, but we appreciate the time you have given us.
Thank you very much, but tell the Ugandans to be calm, that by Friday we shall have everything settled.
The Ugandans are listening to you. Thank you so much. We're going to take a break. You're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll come back with the Executive Director of Uganda Manufacturers Association, look into how they are preparing for the exhibition from the 2nd to 10th of October, and also the perspective of manufacturers in building a resilient economy. We'll be right back. Welcome back to 933 KFM, and this is the Hot Seat. My name is Patrick Amara, and my guest in the studio is Dr. Ezra Muhumuza, who's the Executive Director, Uganda Manufacturers Association. You are preparing for an exhibition, I suppose. It happens every year. I think this is the 20th?
It is 30th.
The 30th exhibition?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, and so how is it going, and what should we expect? How different is this going to be? And really, what does it add to the local economy and the big economy, these exhibitions?
To begin with, the right naming, you call it the Uganda International Trade Fair.
Uganda International Trade Fair.
International Trade Fair. Meaning that it is beyond the Ugandans.
Okay.
In this, I'm glad to inform you that we have 30 countries.
Wow.
Countries that are coming together with Uganda to exhibit what they have and see what we have.
Okay.
That's why now we take it beyond, let me pass the Rugogo and I buy something. No. It is an international in that we exhibit what we want to be in the international lens, and we want to see what already other people are having. If you do not know what others are doing, then you cannot stay competitive. That is the thinking. Currently, if you may, and there is a reason as to why I want to tell Ugandans which countries are there, because one of the key components is creation of business to business.
Okay.
We want people, Ugandans, wherever they are,
partnerships,
who would want partnerships to come and meet people here. And these are the countries that so far have sent the exhibitors. They're already in the country, and we're very happy with the immigration. They have cleared them. We have China, Egypt, Benin, Ghana, India, Indonesia, Kenya, Malaysia, Nigeria, Pakistan, Rwanda, South Africa, Syria, Tanzania, Turkey, United Arab Emirates, Japan, Jordan, Lebanon, Iran, UK, Thailand, Zambia, Cameroon, South Sudan, Italy, South Korea, Taiwan, and DRC. You have asked me something.
You know, I've had some countries I was not expecting.
Yes.
Countries like Benin, countries like Cameroon, countries like Lebanon. I was not expecting.
This tells you two things are happening in the global business space. You will see a trend of African countries waking up because of African free continental trade area.
Okay.
Now that tells you that if you want to participate in that regional market, wake up and participate. Others are not sleeping. So this never used to be the trend.
You have 30 countries come to exhibit, but also Ugandans are going to exhibit. Do you have enough space where that can be showcased?
We had to squeeze. We have to squeeze because we want everyone to bring what they can and every other person to come and see what they would want to see. So the other factor that I'm trying to bring in here is when you see the others are picking interest in coming to Uganda and exhibit, then that tells you that the competition is actually increasing. And therefore, that brings it away from being a Uganda Manufacturers Association trade fair. And it's now, we are in collaboration with the Ministry of Trade, and other 5 ministries that have come together to ensure that it is embraced as a national event. So it's now a national event other than an association kind of event. I thought I would bring you to this so that you know the magnitude.
It really sounds big, according to the people who are picking the interest.
Yes.
But these African countries, do you have an idea what kind of goods or services or whatever they're going to showcase? Because there's a likelihood that what they produce, we produce. And what kind of challenge or even strain does that bring to the Ugandan manufacturers in terms of quality, in terms of volumes and all this kind of thing?
The countries in Africa, Patrick, have moved on. The thinking that we are producing homogeneous goods, we are all maize producers, those are yesteryear perceptions. Countries have moved on. Most of them, you don't want to know, they are coming here to see the Chiramoto bus. They are coming here to see the cars that we are manufacturing. They are coming to make orders on cars. But some Ugandans say, we don't know or we believe whether the cars are on the road.
I'm sure quality chemicals are going to be there, right?
They are there.
Okay, so because those ones are big time, they're supplying drugs in Zambia, in the Congo, and other places.
Yes.
But how the Africa Free Continental Trade Area, which was launched in Kigali years back, seems not to have picked well because of the logistical challenges of infrastructure. Look, how would we take our goods massively into Benin? How do we go? We have an advantage of supplying milk in Algeria. The market has been there. But access so that your product can also compete there is difficult, I suppose.
Exactly. That's why, in my view, as like out of the 7 protocols agreed upon, if we had priority on the protocol on joint investment, then would have solved this challenge. But you know how business sometimes pushes the decision making in most of these countries. So we have a feeling that as businesses continue and the tax bases increase and the rationale increases, these countries will be pushed to invest into some of these logistical infrastructure jointly or single or multinationally. But the trend is there. We have to accept that the rate at which innovation is happening may not be the same at the rate at which infrastructure investment is happening. So innovation is coming quicker. Trade transactions are moving faster. But the resources required for investment, we still have a challenge as a continent because most of our countries in this continent belong into lower quartile of the investment destination index.
You saw recently in your neighborhood when the Chinatown opened, and everybody was going there the wee hours of the morning of the day to buy goods at a lower price. Chances are that some of the goods being imported into Uganda and selling at lower prices can actually compete with what your manufacturers are producing.
Yes, it can compete, and we normally say we treat this the China town should not threaten people. Chinese products have always come in here. But as Ugandan manufacturers, we have always liked the competition, and we have always continued to work on in town right now. I can specify there are products where Chinese cannot compete with Ugandan products. They cannot. We are very, very many miles away in terms of beating them via quality. But it's a perception that keeps changing every day. And we know in the long run, Ugandans will indeed appreciate that the Ugandan products are of high quality, they are affordable, so as long as they know who is producing what. And these are simple waves of discounts. They are part of the market, and they will smoothen out. We are not worried about that. But really, we continue to believe in the government programs to ensure that the cost of doing business reduces. We are very happy with the response we are getting from Minister of Finance, Minister of Trade, and other ministries, the President himself, to ensure that the cost of doing business comes down.
But the cost of that business, in most cases, it's about even the cost of money. When you're going to borrow, if a business person now is going to borrow money in the Ugandan banks, he's going to maybe 22%, 18, 20, something like that. Yes. Probably that's not the case with the Chinese or any other foreigner. Also, the business person who's paying for electricity probably is not in Uganda. You cannot compare them with the other countries. The business person who is transporting goods within or raw materials from other parts of our country is going through terrible times. See what is happening now in northern Uganda. Traveling to northern Uganda because they are trying to repair Karuma Bridge, it's a hassle. People to go through Masindi Port or to go through Para. You remember when we were having issues of Katonga. So there are many bottlenecks the Ugandan manufacturer will face. And somehow you'll find your good of quality, your service or the product you're producing, which is of good quality, we cannot stand because you have to put at a higher price just to make out some money.
Indeed, these challenges are there. Efforts to solve them are there, but we cannot fold our hands and say China come and become another colonialist in terms of the economic sovereignty just because you are simply ahead of us. We are trying our best, we are trying to engage, and we are positive other than remaining negative all the time. We are trying to see, let's do what we can. That's the perception of Ugandan manufacturers. And you just like it because the little we've moved in this economy, it's an attempt of those individuals with extraordinary zeal. So that's why you see, you hear people start up today, tomorrow they close. These challenges are there, and we are trying to see. Otherwise, if we do not fight hard, the regional market is gone, the continental market is gone, we are nowhere in the international market, then we are shutting an economy. So we are trying to see, let's leverage some of these opportunities, like trade fair, to see what we can do. Let Ugandans come and appreciate that buying an extra one piece of a good from a Ugandan manufacturer, you have added a very big effort into industrialization process of the country.
Yeah, buy Uganda, build Uganda thing.
Buy Uganda.
At the end of the day, people want to put their money and they know that I'm paying little, but I'm having some quality good. It's spending money is not a patriotic duty, is it?
It's not a that's why in some of these trade fairs, manufacturers come and want to listen. The feedback. You took my product, how did it serve you? This is one reason why they parade new products and they want to listen about the feedback on the products that they did exhibit the previous year. So until we own the business, we own the responsibility of supporting our own industries. We cannot win ourselves from the list of international beggars. This is what we emphasize, and we call upon Ugandans, please come and see, come and support, come and advise, come and do business. One of the key things that we are trying to do is up-country stations, up-country people. Let's people come and be agents of manufacturers. They are willing to do concessions with them. They are willing to supply them. They are willing to have agreements as our local business partners. So this and the other thing that is coming in, Patrick, is the business to government engagements. All the ministries have been paraded. They are going to be in dialogues with manufacturers and other business people to ensure some of these quick solutions can be reached at, other than saying keep there, we keep here.
Okay.
So those are some of the things we want to do.
Dr. Ezra Muhumuza, I want to thank you so much. What's going to be your concluding remark?
My concluding remark is about the new things that we have in the pavilion of industry education. We want to have the industrialists wants to resonate with the young generations, such that the Murwana, the Mukwano, the Kaduchiberus, the Luca Plastics, who came into the industries by try and see, they don't want the next generation to continue doing that. So they say every year they would be calling all young Ugandans, they transfer the little knowledge they have acquired to the next generation. So if you're out there, don't miss coming to the trade fair. It starts on the 2nd and it closes on the 10th. The fee has remained at 10,000. We welcome everyone. Security has been guaranteed by all the apparatus of national security. They are down there already as I speak.
I want to thank you, Dr. Ezra Muhumuza, Executive Director, Uganda Manufacturers Association. Thank you for your time. Earlier we had the Minister of State for Kampala, the Honorable Christopher Chofa Togavie, and we have been having you. We thank you for the privilege of your company. Good night and God bless Uganda.